All right, it is our pregame show on cleveland.com. Dan Labbe, Tom Reed joining me. We'll also have Mary Kay Cabot. Branson Wright is going to join us as well. Going microphone-less today on cleveland.com for reasons we won't get into. And Tom, final home game of the season, most likely, unless of course the Browns somehow win this division and get into the playoffs and get to host a game. And of course Johnny Manziel. That's who everyone's talking about. What is a realistic expectation for the rookie quarterback?
I think to start out with a win. That's the main thing he wants today. Get a win, end his 2-game losing streak, and keep their very, very faint playoff hopes alive. And I think, maybe a touchdown or two, maybe one passing, one running, and just stay away from a really bad game. As long as if he's somewhere in between, I think that's going to be enough, because I think this defense will be good enough that they can get a win.
I was talking to somebody before the game, and we were talking about, Johnny Manziel is going to have that potential to have those, oh my gosh, did you see what he just did moments? And then also those, oh my gosh, did you see what he just did moments, good and bad? Yeah. Is that really what we should expect?
Yeah, I mean, he's the type of guy, especially early in his career, that'll keep both teams in the game. That's just the way. He's a high-risk type of player. But, we'll see. Again, if he stays away from 2 or 3 turnovers, I think they'll be fine today. I think they have enough. I think the Bengals, to me, are kind of, I don't know, I don't like the way they're going right now. I know they'd won 3 of the previous 4, but they've got a tough stretch to finish. They've got to win today. I mean, they lead the division, but that doesn't feel like they're leading the division to me.
Yeah, this is a big game for both teams, obviously. Like you said, the Bengals are leading the division, but I was kind of looking at some of the schedules and looking at Pittsburgh and Baltimore and your division records. Everybody's kind of even with their records within the division. Pittsburgh and Baltimore seem like if Cincinnati loses today, they might end up having the inside track.
Yeah, I agree. Again, this is why this game is so important for Cincinnati. Enough about them, but they end with Denver and then on the road in Pittsburgh, where they've already lost once this year. Against who they've lost once this year.
Yeah, all right. Elsewhere, of course, the Browns injury news. Justin Gilbert probably going to get a lot of playing time today with K'Wan Williams being out. Have we heard about Carlos Dansby yet?
He's out.
He is out again. So obviously a big loss there. How do they replace? They've been working without Dansby, but what can we expect from Gilbert, the other #1 pick?
Well, I mean, you hope that you hope that he finishes or starts the way he finished last week with a flourish, a great pick play. So much of that position, and really all positions, are confidence. And for him to finally make a play, in a play that he was very similar to making in Atlanta, was a little hesitant. This time makes the play. Let's see how he does. It'll be a big test for him, but maybe with the confidence of the pick last week, he'll perform well.
Can this defense, maybe not 2 touchdowns duplicate, but can they duplicate what they did last week? Because they obviously have been getting better and better as the season's gone on.
And yeah, you think about, I don't know if to say where it started, but they'll just take a repeat of what they did last time against the Bengals, in which they limited Andy Dalton to a 2.0 passer rating, 3 picks, 4 turnovers in that game. So just maybe not quite that much, but something. They've been on a roll. They lead the league in interceptions. They're among the leaders in takeaways. Last 8 games, they've had the most takeaways in the league. They're playing lights out.
You think Jeremy Hill's comments are in the back of Browns defenders' minds?
I'm sure a little bit, but it goes both ways. I'm sure they could. The Bengals will say, what was Tayshaun Gibson tweeting?
Yeah, that's true.
He's not even playing. So that kind of stuff works both ways.
All right, what was your pick for today?
I picked the Browns, 21-20, but oh my gosh, I looked at I'm 6-7. Maybe that's not a good sign for Browns fans, but I think the Browns come away with the W today.
Yeah, I went back and forth on this one, and I guess the Bengals being the Bengals is what I was sort of hoping when I picked the Browns. But we'll see how it goes. Browns and Bengals kicking off at 1 o'clock. Our pregame show will continue shortly from First Energy Stadium. Tom Reed's here. We'll have Branson Wright and Mary Kay Cabot on in just a minute. And as promised, back on our Browns pregame show from First Energy Stadium, Dan Labbe now joined by Branson Wright. Branson, Browns-Bengals, but let's just start with Johnny. We can't put him off. Johnny Manziel, some quarterback they drafted, some first-round kid. I don't know who it is.
A small guy?
Yeah, I think so. I hear he runs around a lot. What are you expecting from him?
Well, I'm expecting excitement, either good or bad excitement, and we know that's what Johnny brings. But I'm a guy that grew up in Cincinnati, so I know how these Bengals can play.
Yeah.
And you saw what happened down in Cincinnati last month. So I think this is another game where the Bengals can't handle the pressure, and I think Manziel will play good under pressure, and I think he'll do well today.
We know this is a big game for both teams. I was kind of looking at who teams have left. And I feel like if Cincinnati loses this game, you got Pittsburgh and Baltimore kind of on the inside track for this division, which actually is good for the Browns because they end in Baltimore, so they can give themselves a chance with this win. But let's say the Browns somehow do win out. Do you think they can win this division?
That's the only way they can make it, in my estimation, for them to make the playoffs. And if they do win, and as you talked about the Bengals, they have Pittsburgh and they have Denver.
Next week, yeah.
which is another big game for them. So, but it has to start today. You have to win today. That if you have any prediction or any hopes of making the postseason, you have to beat the Bengals.
All right, defensively, the Browns, of course, coming off a fantastic game last week. 2 touchdowns, still a loss. Justin Gilbert is going to be thrust back into action. So we get to see the other first-round pick as well, getting big playing time again. Can this defense maybe not score 2 touchdowns again, but can they duplicate what they did a little bit last week and against Cincinnati that first time around?
Oh, without question. I mean, this defense has been playing great. And I don't think they have to get turnovers or have to score off turnovers to win this game. All they have to do is to get the offense in a good position. You know, play like they've been playing all year. Don't do anything differently. And with Dansby possibly coming back today, I think that's only a bonus.
Losing K'Wan Williams also. Who would have thought we'd say this at the beginning of the year? That's a big guy to lose on that defense.
Yeah, it is. And that just says a lot for the staff as far as finding a guy like that who wasn't on anybody's radar. And the fact that he's been able to step in despite the top picks not being in that lineup, I think that's just a good find for the Browns.
Now Josh Gordon has come under a little bit of heat for how he's played the last few weeks, and people have questioned his effort. Johnny Manziel starting, does that maybe bring a little energy now to Josh Gordon's game?
I think it does, and I think a lot of things that happened with Gordon, it was frustration.
Yeah.
And if you saw those passes, he's not an infielder. He's not a guy just kind of scoop balls off the turf or balls overthrown. And then that last play, people talk about if you'd have caught that, the Browns would have been in position to win. But that would have been a great catch for him to pull that off. So I think you'll see something different from him today, and I think it's more or less Manziel's accuracy than as far as Gordon being motivated or not.
Is Manziel going to be able to run around and use his
legs
today? How are the Browns going to use him? We saw some of that read option in preseason. You got to think that's going to come back. But what other ways could they use him?
Well, the best way for Manziel is to be Manziel.
Yeah.
When things break down, for him to run around, not necessarily to run for first downs, but just to help get guys open. And I think that's been the essence of him in college, and you'll see it again today.
All right, Branson, got to ask you your prediction because you're like 10-3 this year predicting Browns games.
Geez, man, just been so lucky. Well, in our show during the week, I said the Bengals, but I switched. I'm going with the Browns. I'm going with the Browns today.
I did the same thing. I think we were talking before that show that we were both thinking Bengals. We both decided to go Browns. All right, that's Branson Wright. We're going to take a quick break. We'll bring back Mary Kay Cabot and wrap up our pregame show. And wrapping things up now on our Browns pregame show with Mary Kay Cabot. Mary Kay, we're going to get an extended look at the Browns' first-round draft pick today. Justin Gilbert playing a lot of time. That's not the guy everybody's talking about. Johnny Manziel getting the start today for the Browns. His first start, of course, as everyone knows. What are you expecting out of number 2?
Well, I'm expecting some ups and some downs, some excitement. I'm expecting him to run around, make plays with his feet. I'm expecting him to throw a touchdown pass to Josh Gordon today.
Yeah.
I'm expecting all kinds of things, a lot of shotgun, some read option. I think he'll stand in the pocket and deliver the ball. I think he'll surprise some people with his arm strength a little bit. I think he's going to make some mistakes, and then they hope that he'll overcome those mistakes. And I expect there to be at least one snap exchange
like
that goes wrong. So those are some of the things.
Now, a lot of people have been talking about Josh Gordon, and everybody who watched Johnny at Texas A&M remembers Mike Evans, how Johnny would kind of extend plays and then just launch the ball to Mike Evans. Can Josh Gordon kind of fill that role, and will he be energized today with Johnny starting?
Yes, I think so. I think Josh started to lose it a little bit last week. Some receivers, if they're not super involved in a game, their mind starts to wander a little bit. He was taken off the field on some third downs last week, and I think that kind of got in his head a little bit. I can't say for sure. I'm just kind of reading the tea leaves here, but I think he just kind of got off of his game a little bit. I think he'll be very much in it, and I think he's very excited about Johnny playing. And I think he knows he's got to be on his toes, and he will be.
Something we haven't talked about on the show yet, running the football. That was something the Browns did very well in that first meeting against Cincinnati. And with a rookie quarterback, even though the expectations are on him, you've got to think they want to run the football with Terrence West and Isaiah Crowell.
Yeah, they'll run it with those guys, and they'll run it with Johnny. So you'll have 3 guys running the football today at least in those 3. And I do expect that you'll get some good yards out of Isaiah. And they do want Johnny to rely on the running game today to the extent that they can. But they're going to try to take it away because they want to see what Johnny football can do with his arm. They want to make him throw the football, and they're going to try to get to him early and often. They're going to try to rattle him. They're going to try to get that pressure and try to get him off of his game and confuse him. But that's when he just has to forget about what he's seeing out there and try to scramble around and find the open man.
Is there an advantage for the Browns in this game? Because obviously Cincinnati has that A&M tape to look back on. They have a couple drives in Buffalo, a little bit of preseason, but they don't have a lot on this guy at the NFL level. We see it kind of in baseball a lot. You see a pitcher for the first time, teams struggle against him. Is that an advantage for Johnny Manziel and the Browns?
Yes, absolutely. It's definitely an advantage that they don't have anything on him, and they don't know what Kyle Shanahan has up his sleeve. I mean, they can guess, but even the Browns don't know what's coming. So if the Browns don't know what to expect, then certainly the Bengals don't. I mean, everyone has an idea. Everyone knows what he's capable of and what he can do. I think the good thing is that Kyle Shanahan has basically said, I don't want him thinking too much this first game. Let's just go see what the kid can do, and we'll figure it out from there.
No K'Wan Williams. It means Justin Gilbert kind of getting thrust back into the spotlight. Had a good week last week. Can he continue to grow off of what he did last week, getting that first pick 6, batting down some footballs? He played relatively well based on what we've seen.
Yeah, you know what? Absolutely. He really came up off the mat there and came through for them in a game that they needed him to play well, and now they really need a full game out of him. And, if Andy Dalton gets rolling with some of these receivers, which I don't think he will, because I do think the defensive front is going to menace him enough that he's not going to have a good game again. But if they do get him going, if Andy gets rolling with Sanu and some of these guys, Justin has got to step up and do what he did last week.
All right, now, Mary Kay, every week you make some predictions on our show. Sometimes it's off the air. I got to get a couple predictions from you.
Well, I made a couple already so far in the show, but I'm predicting a touchdown pass from Josh Gordon.
Right?
I'm predicting one completely botched snap exchange.
Okay, we got that one.
And today I'm also going to predict a pick by Joe Hayden.
All right, so there you go. And what was your game pick?
My game pick was Browns 24-23, but now I'm starting to think the Bengals might not score that many points.
Wow. All right, that'll do it for our Browns pregame show here live from First Energy Stadium. If you missed any of it, we'll have it up shortly at cleveland.com/Browns. I'm Dan Labbe for Mary Kay Cabot, Tom Reed, and Branson Wright. Thanks for watching.